Good afternoon, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. Today is Thursday, March 1st, 2022. The time is 5:35 p.m. This is a City Council regular meeting. We are at the Council Chamber, City Hall Building, 100 South Monroe Street, Eagle Pass, Maverick County, Texas. We'll start with the establishment of a quorum. We do have a quorum today with Mayor Pro Tem Ramon, Councilwoman Cruz, and myself, Mayor Salinas. Absent right now is Councilman Davis and Councilman Elias Diaz. Moving on to a moment of reverence, I would like to take a moment to honor and pray for the people of Ukraine. Thank you. You know, it's a difficult situation over there, so. Moving on to citizens' communications and recognitions. Madam Secretary?
None submitted, Mayor.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to public hearings. Item number 1, public hearing on the request submitted by Ivan A. Davila for the rezoning of Lot 18, Block 1 of Paso del Rio subdivision, also known as 1953 Del Rio Boulevard, from B2 Central Business District to R3A Apartment District. We will open the public hearing at 5:36 p.m. Mr. Madera?
Mayor, Council, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
Just want to point out from the beginning, this is a public hearing item only. No action will be taken at this time. So the applicant, as you mentioned, Ivan A. Davila, the location is at 1953 Del Rio Boulevard. It is currently zoned B2 Central Business District. And their application was to rezone to R3A. They're seeking to do some apartments, is what they're looking to do. Generally, R3A probably is not the most appropriate there, more of a business district. But again, we'll just provide a little bit more of the information here. So here's an aerial to give you some perspective. Some of the nearby stores, there's a Dollar General here towards the left of your screen. There's a Jehovah's Witness church, and it's not shown here yet on this aerial, but the new development where there's the Cup and a couple of other small it's a small shopping plaza right in this area, and then also nearby in the vicinity is another shopping plaza here to your right. So the lot we're talking about is just behind Dollar General.
Is it next to, there's a new, like, home health?
Exactly,
building?
so it's right between the Dollar General and the home health that's being built. That's exactly where it is. The zoning, as you can see, in general, shows that this is a business district. The green designating that those are all business districts, business zoning along the Del Rio Highway. The recorded plat, which you can see here, shows that it's a little bit small, but shows the zoning for the subdivision. The residential here is R1. You can see here the font below there, it's B2 for these commercial ones that face Del Rio Boulevard. Their preliminary plat or design of what they have in mind is parking along one side with 5 single-family units on the right separated. And the design concept they have is something along these lines of sort of that modern townhouse style. Key details here also are that 7 notices were mailed out to the abutting property owners, and we did receive 1 letter in opposition. So that concludes this informational item, and again, this is just a public hearing, no action to be taken.
Okay. Do we have anyone in the audience that has any questions, concerns regarding this public hearing? Council? No? Okay, well, thank you for the information. We'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 5:39 p.m. Moving on to item number 2, public hearing on the request submitted by Eagle Sky RE LLC for the rezoning of an .5229 acre lot located in Day Land and Cattle Company Survey 835 and a half, abstract 1240, called to be located in abstract 1111 investing deed, Maverick County, Texas, and described in conveyance document to Eagle Sky RE LLC, recorded in document number 2113307 of the Maverick County Official Public Records, Maverick County, Texas, also known as 2258 Garrison Street, from R1, First One Family Dwelling District, to B3, General Business District. We'll go ahead and open up the public hearing at 5:40 PM. And also let the record reflect that we do have Councilman Davis and Councilman Diaz here, present at the meeting at 5:40 PM.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
So this item, as was the last one, is informational only, no action to be taken. The request here is being submitted by Eagle Sky LLC. The location, 2258 Garrison Street, very prominent area by Garrison, getting near the Main Street intersection, close to Burger King. This is a 5.5229 acre tract, zoned R1. Obviously, it's in a primarily commercial zoning. This is usually when things were first platted many years ago, and it was just never changed. It's a little bit of an unusual shape, so it's been an R1 for many years, and they're seeking to change it to a business district to be able to develop a business there. The surrounding area obviously has many other commercial properties that are also zoned business district. The area here highlighted is the property in question. This would be Burger King right near it, right along its parking lot and the pathway to the drive-thru for Burger King. So as you can see, it is a little bit of a L shape or flag type of shape, but there is a developer who has a design in mind to be able to take advantage and utilize this location.
Excellent.
As the zoning map again shows, there's commercial district all around here for the master planning. But again, when this area was, I guess, originally developed many years ago, it was all just set up as that R1 designation. Here's another image with a survey. And some other detail here, that 5 notices were mailed to abutting property owners, and no responses were received on this one. Again, that concludes the item, and this again is just informational.
Okay. This is a public hearing, so do we have anyone in the audience or council, any questions, concerns regarding this item? Okay, since there are none, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing at 5:43 PM. Thank you, Mr. Madera.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the consent agenda. A consent agenda is contained in this meeting agenda. The consent agenda is designed to assist in making the meeting shorter and more efficient. Items left on the consent agenda may not be discussed when the consent agenda comes before council. If any council member wishes to discuss a consent agenda item, please tell me now, and I will remove the item from the consent agenda and place it in an appropriate place on the meeting agenda so it can be discussed when that item is taken up by the council. Does anyone want to remove any items on the consent agenda? Okay, so we'll move to the consent agenda items. Item number 3, approval of the minutes for February 1st, February 2nd, February 15, and February 17, 2022. Item 4, third and final reading of an ordinance amending Section 5-32, Article 3, Chapter 5, Alcoholic Beverages of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Eagle Pass, Texas, to include Carthage Place, Unit 14, Block 33, Lot 6, 1989, South Veterans Boulevard, within the areas in which the sale of alcoholic beverages for consumption on the premises is permitted. Finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law, providing a severability clause and establishing an effective date. Item 5, consideration and possible approval of a resolution amending resolution number 2021-47R, declaring the official holidays for the City of Eagle Pass for fiscal year 2021 and 2022 by adding Texas Independence Day. Item 6, consideration and possible approval of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Eagle Pass, Texas, authorizing the use of competitive sealed proposals as the method of purchase that provides the best value to the municipality for banking depository services. Item 7, consideration and possible awarding/rejection of invitation for bid IFB number 2022-005 for Fort Duncan Ball Field fencing. Item 8, consideration and possible awarding/rejection of invitation for bid IFB number 2022-007 for swimming complex fencing. At this time, I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, just for the record, on item number 7, it would be to award the Green Company, and for item number 8, it would be to award RAFSA Construction.
Okay. Okay, so item number 7 is to award to the Green Company, and number 8 would be to award that bid to RAFSA.
RAFSA, yes.
Do I have a motion from anyone to confirm these items?
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon. Do we have a second? Do we have a second?
This were all part of the same,
So this is the consent agenda,
Agenda.
yes. Unless somebody wanted to move an item out of the consent
Because I
agenda.
wasn't sure, yeah, so I was reading through some of them because I wasn't sure if actually one of the items was similar to another issue that we had at a previous.
Well, that's why we could have,
Yeah,
It
that's why I was
it had
just.
to have been mentioned at the
Yeah.
beginning.
yes.
No, that's fine, then I'll.
Yeah, but just, the thing is that, I mean, we didn't take it out because I thought it was just, since we changed the wording now, it changes because now we're saying the company name already and we didn't see the bid, so it wouldn't it be considered that
The
it was
backup
changed at the
was
last
all,
minute?
the backup was all there, sent to everyone prior
Right.
to the meeting.
Okay.
So with that said, what happens if there is not a second?
It dies for lack of a second, so then you have to go individually.
so all the
for each
items
one.
die or just?
All the items die, and you have to go there one by one.
Okay. Okay, we'll go ahead and, since there is no second, we'll go through the items one by one. But I would ask that for the next meeting, we try to maybe go over the agenda so we can avoid this. All right. So with that said, we'll go back to item number 3. Approval of the minutes for February 1st, February 2nd, February 15, and February 17, 2022. Okay, we have a motion to approve the minutes by Councilman Davis and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon. Discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. We'll move on to item 4. Third and final reading of an ordinance amending Section 5-32, Article 3, Chapter 5, Alcoholic Beverages of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Eagle Pass, Texas to include Carthage Place, Unit 14, Block 33, Lot 6, 1989 South Veterans Boulevard within the areas in which the sale of alcoholic beverages for consumption on the premises is permitted, finding that the meeting at which this ordinance is passed is open to the public as required by law, providing a severability clause, and establishing an effective date. Do we have a motion to approve? We do have a motion by Councilwoman Cruz and a second by Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Okay, I did. Discussion? All those in favor? Ms. Ramon? You're in favor?
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Unanimous. Item 5, consideration and possible approval of a resolution amending resolution number 2021-47R declaring the official holidays for the city of Eagle Pass for fiscal year 2021-2022 by adding Texas Independence Day.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Councilman Davis, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon. Discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous, and this is for tomorrow, correct?
Correct.
Nice. Enjoy. Enjoy.
That's why you are staying late today.
Yes. All right, all right. Item 6, consideration and possible approval of a resolution of the City Council of the City of Eagle Pass, Texas, authorizing the use of competitive sealed proposals as a method of purchase that provides the best value to the municipality for banking depository services.
So basically, Mayor and Council, we are going to be going for RFP for our banking depository services, basically where we have our banking accounts with.
Okay.
And so every few years we do go out. So it's that time.
So moved.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Davis and a second by Councilwoman Cruz. Discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Item 7, consideration and possible awarding / rejection of invitation for bid IFB number 2022-005 for Fort Duncan Ball Field fencing. Mr. Antuna?
George, you want to come and say a few words about it?
Hello. Good afternoon.
This is a recommendation from the Finance Department to award, hey, the Green Company.
Okay. And this is exactly for what work will they be performing again?
This
Just-
work will be for the Fort Duncan ball field areas. It would be for 5 fields, Rogers, Chelos, Little League, Pee Wee, and the Panther Field.
Okay. And they'll be doing the fencing?
Replacing all the fencing and poles that need to be fenced, as far as the square tubing, round tubing, and all that.
Okay. And what kind of fencing is it, Mr. Sanchez?
It's gonna be the 9-gauge fencing, commercial fencing.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And we had several people apply for this?
There was 2 vendors that applied.
2 vendors.
The Green Company and Raspa
Okay.
also. Yes, sir.
And how did you conclude that you're recommending the Green Company?
The Green Company is the one who came in lower, but both companies have done jobs for the city before. As far as Raspas, they've done the job at the Kelso Park and the bridge area, and the Green Company have done the job. They were outsourced by Hellas Construction to do all the fencing at the sports complex.
Okay. All right. So, and your recommendation, again, is to award it to the Green Company, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Tuna, my concern also was on the fact that with the bridge expansion, that's why when it said Fort Duncan, I wanted more, I didn't get a chance to read all the details of all of them, and that's why I was concerned about any kind of potential impact to any of the areas with any of the bridge alignment and stuff like that that we wanted to do with the expansion, because I don't want to be putting more money there and then it's going to be torn down.
Well, that's a very good point. We need, is it going to be part of the, when we're looking at, and maybe Danny and, or Omero can speak to this a little bit further, but on the bridge expansion component, is this gonna take in any of the fields, that we're looking at during the expansion part?
Yeah, because
Because, I mean, it's in how you have, I know Moncada Park is there, and then I know
was this,
Chelos Park is there, and you're mentioning it, and that's my concern, that we're not gonna be putting a fence up and then
What
we're
I
gonna
see
tear
And
it
then we're gonna
down.
tear it down.
What we've been hearing is gonna, if it's gonna be, it was gonna be part of Moncada Field. None of the other fields that I mentioned would be touched, as far as the bridge expansion.
Yeah, just to add to that, from our understanding, obviously in conversations with our new city engineer administration, the goal was initially to try to save as much as we could from Moncada and leave it untouched, but right now, we're kind of in conversations regarding where it might be more beneficial to the city and to the bridge system to have to, take up some of that field. So I don't know if, is Moncada included? in
Moncada's
this?
not included.
Moncada's not included
No,
in this. Mr. Danny, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Good evening. In review of the conceptual plan that was done a while back, I asked the engineer that we had selected to do that project to give us a price to do a more detailed conceptual, which is called a schematic. In conversations that we've had, it looks like we may need to encroach on that area if we're going over, just because it's too a sudden turn and the elevation to go over the road just may not be possible. It was looked at on a very high level previously in the conceptual. No insult to the previous engineers, but now that we're going to get into more of the details, we can see if that really works. We'll do everything we can to avoid going into encroaching that area, but we just wanted to make sure we had that option if we needed to. I mean, that's a lot of money the city's going to be looking at spending, and these trucks will be going over that bridge and that incline for 50, 60, 70 years if it lasts like it's supposed to. So we just want to make sure we get the best design and that the bridge is something that people will want to use, not something that they, say, well, look at that incline, we don't want to use it, so.
Right. I mean, that's a valid point. I totally understand that, yeah, we don't want to invest in the fields and then we have to remove it. So,
This, by the way, this bid is not included, I was just informed, does not include Moncada Park, so it's all the
So
other
it's
parts.
completely out.
It's completely out.
Okay.
But like if you were to reconsider, like moving, the bridge further up, that's what I'm saying, I mean, because there's another option, I mean, because I know we were forcing that turn early on in the area. If you were to move it a little bit further back, would you potentially encroach on one of the fields? That's where I was, because I mean, I know we had looked at, I remember, with no disrespect, when Vanessa was here, she had even mentioned maybe, I mean, because we were using that because that's the way they were using it. But I mean, if we were to change a little bit of and push it further, I don't know what's it.
Which one's the first one?
Northeast, I guess, then the bridge could be potentially further up.
The one right
on the road.
next
So
to Moncada
that is my concern.
is Pee Wee Field. That's on the north end, where the overpass or the bridge would pass is through the south end.
Yeah, it'll be,
Correct.
yeah, because is that
Well-
Moncada?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I'm afraid I still don't know all the names, but I understood
That's
that's
fine.
Moncada, yeah, the larger field.
The larger field,
Yes.
yes.
It wouldn't touch anything else.
It wouldn't touch anything else, okay.
At least that's what we're looking at now. That's
Right.
it.
Yeah.
But we will be having engineers look at it, and you have to account for drainage, you have to account for slopes, site distance problems, that kind of thing. I said, we want to make sure that we spend our money wisely, and we're not trying to retrofit something in 20 years from now because we outgrew what we did.
Right.
So,
That was the idea.
Okay, so I mean, it's been clarified that this fencing project does not include putting fence on Moncada, right?
No, sir.
One last question. On the sports complex, they were taking care of the same company of the fencing. And then on this one as well, are we gonna be able to cover still the completion time? Do they have enough people to cover both projects?
That is my understanding. It's a 7-week. They're putting that they'll have everything done in 7 weeks. So the city will hold them accountable.
Considering already the sports complex?
Yes.
So it had been brought up within the context of the sports complex of scope of work, right? That we were seeing these projects that were not necessarily aligned with scope of work with this company. How's this company doing with this scope of work?
As far as the scope of work as projects, right now, they're on tap, as far as projects that they're working with the city right now.
But, I mean, with the fencing, specifically with fencing.
Have they done this type of work before, fencing?
They've done this type of work before through Hellas Construction. They were subcontracted out to do the sports complex one.
Yeah.
As far as through the city, they haven't done a fence for us, just through Hellas.
No, it's the same thing.
It's the same thing,
So they've done
They did it for us,
fencing
but
work.
through them, yeah.
through them, yes.
Maybe a dumb question, but Ellis can actually go directly and do a bid? So, I mean, if they're gonna end up doing it anyway, so that they don't get subcontracted by Green Company?
How's this?
You're
Excuse-
telling me that Ellis
Ellis?
Ellis was doing it for Green Company, correct?
No.
No, no.
They were the
Hellas,
contractor and they.
Hellas
they said-
subcontracted the
Oh,
Green
and they
Company,
subcontracted them.
yes, for the sports complex
In
fence.
this case, since it's kind of a small project for a big company like Hellas, I don't think they would put in a bid for
Yes, they didn't put in the bid.
something this.
And the fencing, to add to it, the Fort Duncan fencing is over 17 to 20 years old. A lot of it, needs to be replaced and poles and all that.
Right, okay.
Yes.
Anything else?
So pretty much for clarification purposes, I think the concern overall is, this green company, we've never known that they have the experience for fencing. But they are subcontracting others, right, to do the fencing. So in reality, that's not their specialty. Excuse me, they're not doing that, but they will be subcontracting. I think that's the concern. They're not the experts, so is this gonna be a
No.
good project at the
Well,
end?
actually, they were
No,
subcontracted, actually.
They were
somebody,
subcontracted.
They did
yes,
the work.
the contractor,
So
they did the work.
they do the work.
They've
Okay.
done fencing.
Apparently, they've done the fencing before,
Okay.
so, yeah,
Correct.
so, okay.
Through Hellas.
Yes, ma'am.
Through,
Yes.
yes, okay.
I'll entertain a motion to award or reject this.
So moved to approve, that's fine.
Okay, I have a motion by Councilman Davis to approve this bid and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. Item 8, consideration and possible awarding / rejection of invitation for bid IFB number 2022-007 for swimming complex fencing.
That's fine, they just addressed it, I mean, they just said that Rob said it, it's okay, I'll make a motion to
Okay,
approve.
we have a motion to approve by Councilman Davis and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon. Discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you very much.
My concern was the fact that I just didn't want to do something and have it torn down a few months down the road.
Okay.
Yes, sir, thank you.
We'll move on to item number 9, the regular monthly department reports. Does anyone have any questions for Bridge? I'm gonna go down. If anybody, stop me if y'all have questions, okay? Bridge, economic development, finance, grants.
I do have a question for grants.
Yes, sir.
I was just wondering, any status updates on any of the grants that we've submitted, any awards or rejections so far?
Mr. Rodney?
Good afternoon, Mayor,
Good
Council.
afternoon. How are you?
Pretty good, all y'all this afternoon,
Good.
this evening, okay? We do want to report out on some grants that, of course, the last one that we just received was Operation Lone Star, with a police department, and that was over $1.4 million. The majority of that is for hours for the officers. Almost $1 million is for manpower. We also included 3 dispatchers, and we did also include an office worker to help with all this paperwork that's required. We also included 3 new police units, fully equipped, and we also have surveillance cameras. We did have a conference call with the governor's office. It's a total of 26 surveillance cameras that were approved with our grant. We did have a conference call with them to iron out how we can charge the actual time of the officers. We are catching up, Chief Garza, I know. We shared with them the breakdown of the actual budget for that grant. So we're excited to obviously launch this program. This last week, we did receive notification from TDHCA on our community resiliency program. They did the scoring. We did not fare so well as far as our scoring, but we are going to ask for them to provide us a breakdown. And I think Mr. Jesse and I were looking at the points, and I think where we were weak was on the shovel-ready projects. And as you all know, most of them, the land and that we had not acquired the land. There was a lot of missing components or components that awarded points, and so we're going to continue to search other grants, and those were 2 of them, which was the women's shelter and the fire station. It was really competitive. There was a total of 50 applications that were submitted, and we're going to continue to search for other grants to hopefully put those, or to apply for.
Going back to the first one that we spoke about, Operation Lone Star?
Correct.
How much what's the amount of that grant?
Okay, that grant is
1.4?
Is $1,427,570.
Okay.
And like I said, the bulk of that is for personnel. And we did the units, 3 new units, fully equipped, 26 surveillance cameras, and the rest pretty much is for staffing, personnel. We also, we just concluded our emergency mortgage assistance program. I'm happy to report that we were able to obligate the full $500,000. We were able to assist over 60 families. The average mortgage loan or assistance that we provided was about $8,000. And so we're happy to report that we were able to use up all our money. We're not returning one single penny.
Excellent.
And so we do want to, thank all those that assisted, in promoting this program, in helping obviously get the word out. There was a lot of team. I can't thank Ms. Aida enough and her team to, we came up with some innovative ways to market the program, and so we were able to, I guess, obligate the full $500,000, and we will finish out that grant by the end of June. We will have all the $500,000 pretty much spent, and reimbursed from TDHCA.
I definitely want to thank grants and social media and everybody that was able to get the word out, because if we didn't use that, it was kind of one of those use it or lose it situations, and it would just go back.
60 families, you said?
Over 65, I think it was 62 if I recall correctly.
And they were an average of 8,000,
About 8,000, yes.
so it made.
It varied in that, but the average is about 8,000 per family. Now, we do have some grants that were pending notification. We did apply for a rescue boat for the fire department, that's through the governor's office. And we're waiting for final approval. It looks like we're going to get approved. We also applied for some keyboards for the art center, and that was our new grant specialist, Miss Emily. That was her first grant, and it looks like it's going to get funded, so we're excited. And we also have, Councilman Diaz, the resiliency and health and public safety workforce. We still have, if you recall, we still have not gotten a word from that. We may want to follow up on that. It's still on our list here. Let's see, I'm looking at my list here. Obviously, well, you all know the Union Pacific, where the murals, we're looking at applying for another one this coming year. And I think that's pretty much it. Now, as you all know, the EDA grant, which is the Patsy Wynn Boulevard, that one, and I know Mr. Arturo's been in contact with Mr. Pache and that, but what we did with that application, Mr. Pache at beginning said that they were awarding only $1.5 million for that, but there was an allocation that was set aside for coal communities. And so, as you all know, we lost our coal mine here in Eagle Pass, and so we submitted all our documentation for what effect that had, the jobs, the payroll, how much it was bringing in, the ad valorem taxes, everything. And so Mr. Pache, they had a meeting last week internally in that, and so he told us that they're going to try to push that through. And so hopefully, let's turn on those candles. But, we're really excited. It's $5 million EDA grant, and the city would be putting in $1.6 million. So the project is $6.6 million. And so we will, again, the coal mine communities, he looked and there wasn't that many that had applied, so he said, we're going to go that route. And so
What's
we're
the
hoping to
timeline
get that
on
put
that?
in. What's
The
it?
timeline? on
Yes, the
that?
timeline. Arturo, did he share with you the timeline?
Yeah, and we should get a response in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Awesome.
No, that's.
Awesome. Yeah, so okay, and that's pretty much it. We continue to, search for other grants. If you all become aware of any grants that I know Councilman Diaz, just send them to us. We'll look at them, we'll read them, and we'll find out. We'll get with administrative, with Mr. Jesse, and find out. Hey, can we apply? And we're really excited to continue looking for opportunities to get grants, obtain grants for the city of Eagle Pass.
Thank you for all your work.
Yes, definitely very happy with your department and all the team.
Yes, yeah,
for getting these.
without the team, obviously, everybody working together, you can see the results that all of us working together were able to obtain some of these grants.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else? Moving on to fire. Human Resources. Library Department. Marketing. Municipal Court. Parks and Recreation. Planning and Building. Police, Code Enforcement, Security, Animal Control. Public Works, and the Tax Office.
I wanted just to ask the police department, it was not a concern or somebody that called directly, but I've been asking, questions to the employees if there's anything that they need so that we can just be open about it and find the help. I'm not very aware of the situation of the cars that I know, while I was aware, I'm just trying to see how many do we have actually working, and if there's any more need of fixing the ones that are actually parked. Is it a problem right now to the department, or we're good in that sense?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello, Chief.
More than anything, we're trying to figure out more or less of all our fleet, what we have. We've been looking at the miles. We want to make sure that what we have, we can still run with. Riding with the officers, the police officers that I've been doing for a little bit, I'm finding out that some of our vehicles do have some miles on them. And I'd like to see maybe we can create a system later on where we can give the vehicles some rest and use some of the other ones. Operation Stone Garden does allow us to have vehicles through them. I understand that Border Patrol says that we could only use them for Stone Garden. I'm fixing to meet with the chief because I understand a little bit otherwise. They can be used also for our police duties that we do on patrol. So we're looking at all that, ma'am, to see how we can figure out how many vehicles we would need in the future. What we have right now, we can sustain, but we definitely, vehicles will probably be in the need later on. Sometimes right now, as you order vehicles, it takes longer in the system that we're in. But I'm sure I'll discuss this with the city managers later on, and we'll surely will have some good answers for you and what we need to do.
I appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Appreciate you all.
I mean, I know that was all the departments. The only thing I guess I just, before we move on, I mean, I know our city secretary mentioned that we received everything by email. The only thing is that I want to just point out that, like on item 7 and 8, we really didn't get a description of it. It only gave the bid amounts. That's why we had our questions, because there was no backup that sustains the questions that we were asking about which parks were included and stuff. It was a very generic submission. So we need to have a little bit more information.
We'll make sure we get you more detail next time.
We'll move on to other business. Item 10, consideration and possible action on the final plat of the Terra Verde Estate Subdivision Unit 2. Mr. Madera.
I know I communicated with Mr. Madera. Do you still want to go into executive session?
We have a presentation. I don't know if we want to go through that, and then if you have questions that may need executive session, we could
Mayor,
decide that
can
after.
we do that where he gives a presentation
Sure.
if there are legal issues, then we can?
Yeah, you can proceed with the presentation first.
Sounds good. So this item is a final plat application by Tech Services. The vicinity is around Fletcher Boulevard and Mauricio Lipson Boulevard, adjacent to Perfecto Mancha Elementary School. It's an 11.07 acre tract that they're seeking to, that they've developed for R2 residential lots. This is a site plan, a engineering plan showing the lots. It is 46 R2 zone lots that they're developing in this Unit 2. Here's an aerial view. You can see the school, Perfecto Mancha Elementary there, along with Dorothy Lewis Park, and the area in tan around the dashed line represents the city limits boundary. They did annex to incorporate this area into city limits. And so this basically L shape, I don't think we have another one. Above there is the lots that will be developed.
The school is not city limits.
It was not included, and it's also is not platted to this point, which will be a point that we'll be pointing out here in a few minutes. So there's some plat notes. They're pretty much standard. It shows the overall tract size of 11 acres, the 46 lots. It talks about it includes the setbacks. Again, all pretty standard details here for this development. Here's a couple of photos provided to us by Public Works when they went out to do their inspection and check on the infrastructure that was installed. Again, it is all installed at this point: streets, street lights, street signs, ADA ramps at the intersections at the corner, which you could see there in the middle. All is installed and has been approved. A couple more photos there of the streets. So one thing we do need to point out on this, it's a little different from some other subdivisions, that we do have an agreement in place with the developer, and when I say we, the city, on stormwater agreement. And this is due to pre-existing stormwater issues. Let me go back up into the aerial at this intersection of Fletcher and Homer Lewis. So the The design and the pond, which you can see over here to the right side of your screen, kind of an X, a square with a line through, has capacity for this based on all engineering reports and what our engineer had reviewed. It is just a matter of the path to get from there to that point where there's some pre-existing issues. So the developer, the owner, is already working on a larger, what we're calling a regional plan that would involve the school district, City of Eagle Pass, Maverick County, because some of this is outside city limits, as well as the owner. So a couple of people will be coming together, and these are the key points of the agreement that we have, is that we're working towards that solution that will help everybody in the area. We do have a date, though, if that does not come to pass, of April 29th. And the significance of this is that is about the time that we would need to start the work and get it done by August 31st, which is about the time school goes back. The school does want, if something large scale is going to be done there, to be done before school starts back up again in the fall. So this time frame of April 29th gives some time to get all the entities together, try to work on that. And if we are not able to reach that agreement, there's a contingency plan, which is also part of this agreement, for an alternate pond design that would utilize 2 of their lots in the Estera Verde Unit 2 to retain water and basically keep from adding any additional strain to what some existing issues, some pre-existing issues. So
You say pre-existing, that flooding was already there before this development?
correct. Yes, sir. And last point there is that the pond design, we have a preliminary design here. The final design, if it comes to that contingency route, would need to go through our city engineer for approval and must adhere to the city specs. So that's the details of this item. The recommendation from the planning department as well as the planning and zoning commission is to grant this final plat approval, subject to the plat complying with all provisions of the Code of Ordinances, specifically Chapter 23 governing subdivisions and final plats, with 2 conditions, and those 2 conditions are outlined here. One is that the developer provide a maintenance bond for the warranty period as required by ordinance. This is basically just a technicality. We already have IBC Bank, their bank has given us written statement showing that it's basically in process. They just haven't been able to provide it to us yet. We should be getting that in the next few days, and we will not record until we have that in place. And the second item ties into the agreement that I just covered with you, which is that agreement document as well as that alternate plan design be included as exhibits or as attachments to the final plat. So that will be on the official record and will help us to be able to enforce that in the event that we need to. That concludes the presentation. Any questions?
So the negotiation between the school district, the county, the city, that's still gonna go on, right? That deadline is, just so we understand it, April.
End of April, so we
End
still
of
have
April.
March. We just started March and
March.
most of April, so almost 2 months. And again, that would be the ideal solution.
Right.
Because it would help the pre-existing issues of the residents of the area.
And is everybody willing to come to the table from the school district, the county?
At this
As far
point,
as
there's
you
been
know?
a lot of constructive talks.
Good.
And I believe, the owners, the developers who are here, they can answer some more detailed questions about that. But my understanding is that they're finalizing, they're volunteering and doing a lot of the engineer work for what this regional solution takes. So once they have that completed, that will give all the stakeholders here in this discussion the specific details of what each would need to contribute for their part.
Yeah, if I may add, I wanted to thank Livco Enterprises for doing this. I appreciate it because it's been a problem. I know it's not your problem, to be honest. I know that your project is done well. But I appreciate that you're taking care of that and the city as well, because it's gonna fix a lot of things. And thank you for joining that and agreeing, because it's something that it's gonna change even Louis Farms and a situation that it's been there for years, and it's a good project. So
Good afternoon, council. Let me elaborate a little bit more on what's been going on. We met about a month and a half here at the city with the city city manager and representatives. We were able to bring Mr. Mijares, Jorge, the president of the school board, Jerry Morales was here from the county, and Morris and myself, which are from Lipco Enterprises, were the developers. And one of the things we're emphasizing is it's in the best interest of everybody to fix the flooding issues at the intersection of Homer I. Lewis and Fletcher. It's existed there for years, for over 10, 12 years before we existed. And we don't want to keep developing. We have 400 acres there to develop, which there's a lot of future for growth there for the city to expand. We're doing voluntary annexations. We promote with every developer that comes to our engineering firm, to TerraTech Engineering, to annex. Why? Because it helps everybody. It gives the city more tax base, more services, and we're big promoters of that for annexation.
Thank you.
Yeah, but we do want to fix the issues, the flooding issues in that area. So that's why we're able to, Morris and I had talked about it. It's going to cost us some money, but we're willing to invest if we can get everybody. The school already told me, Mr. Mijares and Jorge, that they're on board.
Excellent.
They're
And this
willing,
will-
and that's the thing, that the 10 acres they constitute right now, they don't have drainage, because when they built the school, for some reason or another, back then, they didn't plat it. So they need detention. That's another thing that we're gonna contribute, aside from the TerraTech Engineering already working on the preliminary plans. We're almost through with them. We're redlining them right now. They should be ready in a couple of weeks. We told the group that we can contribute some land there as part of our contribution, so that the school, for the capacity of the school water, right now the school has no area to dump the water. It's dumping it into the existing detention pond we have. So that's why a lot of that flooding is happening right now. So we're gonna set aside some property next to the existing detention pond that we have right now on our property, in our design. It's already in the design, to be able to fit more capacity of water to alleviate and fix all the issues in that area. Because it's not fair to the citizens of Homer I. Lewis Units 4 and 5. Now, and I do want to clarify something. The homes don't flood. What floods is the streets. And the area that there at the intersection, it has a low point of Homer I. Lewis, which is the corner of the school. It's really dangerous, like I told Mr. Mijares and Jorge, for kids, because it gets about 2 feet of water, 2.5 feet of water. And that's an elementary school, so you don't want to have that there.
And this will send all the water to the back.
This will eliminate no more contribution of water from the school. It's gonna go back into the property we're designating, so that there no more water is contributed to that corner.
Is that a realistic timeline to get it?
No,
done?
well, that's the other thing. I mean, we have some dates there. We're almost finished with the plans. We're redlining them right now. I just spoke to Aaron a while ago. He's the one working on the plans, and he tells me that in the next week and a half, 2 weeks, we should have them finished. So, and then we'll bring them, we'll get everybody together and go over them and revise them and look at the budgets, so that everybody, we're all gonna contribute to get this fixed. And what's happening right now, because I personally do a lot of that, is we're having a hard time from vendors getting materials in right now. And then with this issue of the war, I just spoke to some of my vendors today. Who knows what's gonna go on. So as far as the plans, before April 29th, a lot before that, we'll have numbers and budgets and everything, that we can start constructing anything that's machinery and dirt movement, no problem, because we have that in place already. But anything with materials might take a little bit longer, unless we can get them right. But the idea is to have it before the next school period. Yeah, so that way we can be working on the inside of the school in the summer, when there's no kids.
Do you have a preliminary estimate on how much the total project?
We won't have that, Elias, till we have finish the plans completely.
Okay.
We finish the plans, and then once we have everything, the design, then we bring out the list of materials and cost everything out. And we'll bring it to the group, and then you will see the numbers and everything.
And you'll have our engineer look at it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And do we have an idea of the commitment from the other entity? I know that they've been kind of,
Well, the school, Mr. Mijares and Jorge told Morris and I that they're in. They want to fix the issue.
So we just need commitment from the county pretty
Yeah,
much.
the county has half of the street, and that's something that we've talked to Cacho and talked to George, where the city line is. I think it's through the half of Fletcher Boulevard and Unit 5 of Homer I. Lewis, which is county. It just depends how much it affects in the county, in those areas. But as far as the developer, the city, and the school, we're in. We just gotta look at the numbers.
And just to have a better understanding, the detention pond of your subdivision, it was well enough for that subdivision, but since we had a bigger problem,
Right.
then the water of other areas was actually filling that one faster than the usual, so we still had the same problem. So
Right.
that's why we had to
Yeah,
do that.
the problem
right?
existed in that area before Unit 1 and 2 of Terra Verde were there. It was already flooding there 10, 12 years back. So this is a good time to actually help the citizens of that area of Homer I. Lewis, which they've been asking for help for a long time. So, anyway,
Thank you, Mr. Gibson.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Madera, again, your recommendation is to approve the final?
Is to
With
grant the
these
approval with those two conditions mentioned.
These very important conditions.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon and a second by Councilman Davis. Any further discussion? I'll take the vote. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn by Mayor Pro Tem Ramon. Second by Elias Diaz. Discussion, all those in favor? Unanimous.